We're not waiting for opportunity, we're creating opportunity. So adjustments. Adjustments is the most difficult thing for people to do because it requires change. It requires reflection. It requires for you to put in work that you're not used to, or work that you won't consistently do. And it requires for you to admit that you're wrong, that what you did didn't work. And a lot of people are not going to do that because of their egos and their pride and their attitude. The attitude is the first thing that needs adjustment. You're going to sit there and beat your head against the wall doing the same thing over and over just to say you're not wrong. And be like, it's not me. It's society. It's not me. It's her. It's not me. It's him. It's not me. It's them. You're going to constantly point the finger somewhere else. And then what makes it worse, you got a group of you who's like that. A group of you who point the finger at everywhere else. So now you're like, I'm right because I'm with a group of people that believe the same thing. So how can I be wrong? So you're definitely not going to change. But you know what happens to that group? That group starts to deteriorate internally because they sit there and they point the fingers at each other now. It's you that's causing me to do this. You're not showing me nothing. You don't have anything to give me. You might be right. Probably not showing you nothing. They probably don't have anything to get for you to gain from. But now you still blaming them. And then you do what? You find another group of people just like that. Because you've been doing the same things for so long that it becomes a part of your habit, part of your daily response and your reactions in life. And you don't even realize you took on this identity now that you can't take off. It's stuck on your face like the masked man, like an iron mask, like the Iron Mask movie is locked on your face and you don't got the key to get it off, right? And the funny thing is you do got the key to take the iron mask off. And the key is for you to take accountability and responsibility and say, I did this and I need to change. But you're not going to do that. It's going to make you look weird in public. Other people are going to judge you. Or you're going to have to go through the, it's like when you grow your hair, when I had it back in the day, right? When you grow it, they call it the ugly phase. So it's really short. When you twisting it or you braiding it, it's really short. All you try to do is get tape ups, but it don't look the same all the time. So they call that the ugly phase. So people may point and laugh or make fun of you or not talk to you the way they would talk to you before because you're not feeling like you look like your best and they not feeling you look like your best. So you're going off of what they feeling instead of what your goal is. If you would ignore that part, like a lot of us do, when I was growing my hair, I ignored that part because I know my overall goal. I know I'm starting from somewhere. And as my dreads got longer, or my braids got longer, all of a sudden all the people who were looking at me awkwardly before, all of a sudden looking at me different. They're looking at me different because I went through it. People think they're looking at you different because you look better. It took a process for you to look like that. It took a process for you to get that long hair, to get them long dreads. You know what I'm saying? But no one wants to go through that part when you take accountability. Because people are like, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that was wrong. Or yeah, I may not talk to you no more because of that. Or yeah, I may stay away from him or her because of that. And you don't want to go through that point, like talking about you, like, yo, he did so-and-so, yo, she did this and that. You don't want to go through that. You don't want to, you worried about what they think about you. And the part is, that's what's killing you the most. Because you're trying to stay in a place of where you don't want to be or you shouldn't be because you're worried about the response they're going to say to you because of your ego. When all you got to do is just adjust. Simple adjustments. It could be a daily routine. It could be doing something new you haven't done. It could be, like I said, it's accountability during the day. Like, I should have did this when I did this. I shouldn't have done that when I did that. Listening to someone else who went through it. Someone who has been trying to give you advice. Who's been trying to speak some stuff into your life. You guys may not be in the same realm of life, but you may be like, that person took time to say this to you. Maybe I should just see how that works for me. Let me just try it. And then I tell that person, thank you. And if it doesn't work, I still say thank you because you took the time to say something to me because you wanted some kind of change for me, right? But we don't want to do that because we want the self-glory. This is self-day, right? And the only way you can get one of these if you can afford one and you need one of these in order to be powerful, right? But self-glory doesn't start by yourself. It starts from you watching other lessons from others. It starts from you having a strong group of people who care about your development, right? There's a certain age type when you're playing ball, when you're playing sports, when you're lifting, when you kickboxing, whatever it may be, or when you're writing movies, whatever it may be. There's a development phase, right? And it's rough during the development phase, but you keep judging that development phase as you. And you judging other people by their development phase. And those people always needed someone else to show them something different or how to pull them up to the next development, right? So then you can become that. But you got to go through the development phase. If you want a better picture, you got to get it developed back in the days, right? So you got to go through it. You got to do this because it's the only way you're going to get the adjustments. I remember when I was doing kickboxing, right, with my son and my wife. And the guy would always say to us, he would always tell me, the coach, he'd be like, hey, I just do a little bit right at the end to kind of pull you to the next belt. He doesn't just throw the whole thing at you, everything. He does what you do in that belt. And then for you to go to the next belt, he adds just a little bit of the other belt in there and see if you're ready for that, right? If you're not, he's like, nah, you got to stay here till you get this part down. And once you get that part, okay, then you go up to that part. And then you realize in the beginning of that other belt was that last part he showed you. And that's just how it goes, right? For the development, it takes some of that stuff that you haven't had involved in what you did have. So we got to be able to do this adjustment to develop. And I feel like if we're willing to adjust at first, to accept, saying, okay, I need to change. I need to do something different. This is not working for me. Let me try what he or she say, or let me try somebody who I look up to and what they do and try that way and thank them for it. On top of it, gratification. Gratification is its own great instant karma, because karma is not just bad. Karma is good as well. Gratification. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, my dude. Thank you, my homie. Thank you, girl. Appreciate you. There's many times in my life, my wife does things different than I do. We had the same goals, but we get there differently because we're different people, even though we have the same things, right? And after a while, me and her would say like, damn, I took on some of your attributes and I took on some of yours. And we knew when we did because we watched things about each other that we liked and we were like, I need that. That's the strength. And she watched things that she liked about me as I watched things I liked about her. And I didn't go, oh, I don't got to change or this and that. So let me take some of that on and see if that can make me different. And I felt certain ways with it like, man, I'm more like, I don't need all these people. Or I'm more like, I don't need to hit the streets. I don't need to be out there. And then sometimes with her, she's more like, I'm going to speak up more to this person. I'm going to say this out. I'm going to say this so this person know what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? And it made us stronger, right? It supported each other what we lacked, and it helped develop what we needed. But we had to be able to adjust from watching each other to learn from another person and take that advice or take that characteristic that I see of experience in front of me. We can't be afraid to take things from others to grow to be better people, right? And we can't be afraid to take accountability first and say we're wrong. This is not working, right? We got to be willing to adjust. That's the only way we're going to create more self-days, because self-days is wealth. I'm telling you that. Because when you can sit there and say, I can take a self-day with no problems in your mind, bills is paid, everybody's good, and I'm fine, now you know you live in wealth. And then what happens on them self-days? You regenerate. You repower up. And you come back and you're like, oh, this idea came to me, this, that. I got the energy to do this and that. Because you took a self-day, because you powered up. But can you afford one? But a lot of you can't afford one because you're spending your things in the wrong places. So let's just go ahead, man. Try to adjust. Try to make some type of adjustments. Take accountability to make these adjustments. Take advice to make these adjustments, right? Watch the experiences of others to make these adjustments. Let's not point the finger this way. Let's point the finger this way. That's how we empower ourselves, right? Because we're not waiting for opportunity. We create an opportunity.